Hey, it's Cal here. Man, my chest itches. It's like I got all these skin problems lately. Like I'm really sensitive to a lot of things like laundry detergent and I was using this new soap. I don't know why I'm talking about this. But it's like my skin, I've lost so much weight and like I think I'm detoxing a lot, so it's like toxins come to the surface to be like released from my skin. And so I'll get like acne. And it's like I don't know, just like these weird things. I thought it was this thing called leaky gut. I don't even know if I have that. I think I've like healed myself from that. I think it might be just my body like releasing all these toxins. And I've lost a lot of weight, so like my skin is like, I don't want to say like, not really like loose necessarily, but it's just like, I don't know. Is that just, I don't know. Like my body's changing physically so much. It's like, oh god, look at my chest. I feel like Santa Claus. It's like I got a rash, man. What the fuck is that? I just ate this candy stuff, so if I have freaking leaky gut, then those toxins are already coming through. Maybe I'm just super sensitive. Nut goodies. It says sharing nut goodie love for more than 100 years. Real milk chocolate, Virginia peanuts and nougat. There's just like something so sexual about candy sometimes. And speaking about this it's like they got Christmas colors on, and they got a chipmunk on. It's got a chipmunk on it, right? It looks like that chipmunk's got a corncob pipe, or maybe, gosh, it smells weird, like plasticky. Maybe that's a chocolate mug, or he's got nougat in his hands. But like, I was driving by this house and there was on the front door, there's like all these candy cane Christmas lights, really cool, decorative. This is an old house, like an old like Nebraska house, like a 2-bedroom house, like really small house. And it had like these candle like that were like, like 2.5, 3 feet tall on each side of the stairs. And then Santa Claus was on the left side of or the right side of the stairs. And it was like, made me think like twin flame, like there's this doorway, this portal that I'm going through right now, or that the door's available and about to open for me. And finally, like, part of me wants to deny this, but I've been craving this type of relationship for the longest time. And I think everyone is looking for this, or like waiting for this to unfold in their life, because it's like, it's not like you're never really separate from each other, or like what people call twin flame. But it's just, there's distance, and so that distance is coming back together. And so the second part of what I wanted to share with this video is, it's like this, talking about soul family, and then it relates to twin flame, and then talking about soul family as like the human family, right? The original human souls that have been here. So it's like this sphere, this soul, this light, this sun, which originally comes from our star. There may be other souls that came from somewhere else, and that's probably very true, because, or at least maybe use our star as a portal for the souls, because there are so many souls here right now that are not from here, clearly. That's why our population is so big right now, and whatever reason the earth let these people come here is probably to serve us, or to be compassionate to serve these souls for whatever reason. I don't know. That's the earth, and she's smart, you know. So like a soul. So like, this is how it is for a soul family. It's like, starts as one soul, and it breaks out into separate frequencies. And so each one of these frequencies on the higher realms then expands. It's about the higher frequency, high and low frequencies or whatever. Low frequencies come from the heart, by the way, and high frequencies come from the brain. But it's like, it's dimensions are not about above or below. It's about expansion. It's about size. It's about expansion, contraction. So the lower dimensions are expansion. So from this way of looking at it, so it's like they expand out, and they all take a journey out, all the souls. So when they break apart, they turn into other separate frequencies. So they're not all one frequency anymore, but they're like separate, right? So each one of these is a unique frequency. Then that frequency bursts off into two other frequencies, and it's like a shell that opens up, but has that same original frequency. That's like the pearl within a shell. So it's like two halves of the shell when it comes into the body, when it creates a body. Because here it's male and female, that's just how it works here. So it's like that pearl of that frequency is like between two halves of the shell. So two halves of the shell break apart, go off, do their thing, maybe in other lifetimes or whatever. And then like now is the time for that shell to come together. In that pearl in between the shells is like, that's the soul, that's the frequency. At least that's how the twin flames work. So it's about expansion, and all these souls go and take all this journey and expand out and get so expanded, and it's like there's a separate state, like where my head's at right now. Like there's a separate where there's empty space, and so as the souls come back to connect to each other, it's like their frequencies changed. They grew, they gained some knowledge, they gained some things. So it's like these frequencies come back, right, and all connect. And like, if you could imagine, like, I'm all connecting as a bigger soul, bigger star, expanded and connected. So I hope that makes sense. It's kind of hard to describe this with words. I might be better at drawing it, but it's like the souls break apart and they separate, and so they have to like come back to each other because that's just what they do. And so it's like okay, now I'm seeing it from a different angle, different way. So it's like they expand out. They're so expanded. Now they're taking their journey back to each other, but they're not like coming back together like that. They're just like connecting. If you could imagine like electrical connections from each one of my fingers coming and connecting the other fingers. So as their journey back to each other, they like gain all this knowledge. Is like they have to like create their path back to each other. So it's like they create all these new things. I hope this makes sense. This is like so new ideas, but it's like we already knew this. Like we knew that when we broke apart that this was going to happen. So to look at it like this, it's like, imagine, if you may, that now they're broken apart. Now they got to make journeys and grow back towards each other. So as they're growing back towards each other, there are certain souls that chose to separate, and maybe every soul does this, because on a physical sense, we are male and we are female, right? And so it's like two halves of the shell. So when they're growing back towards each other to connect, you know, there's one half of the shell and there's the other half of the shell, but the pearl's the same, the frequency's the same, the essence is the same. It's just one part of the shell, and then the other part of the shell, it's either the bottom or the top half of the shell, male or female. And so it's like the shell broke. And so that's like a sad thing in a way, right? Like there's so much distance. But doing that, it's like being in different parts of the world. Maybe there's some lifetimes that I feel like my soulmate, my divine life partner, my twin flame, or whatever. We've kind of always been with each other. There's so many lifetimes that I incarnated in this type of energy, but I feel like there was a few lifetimes where I was really with her. But I really don't know. I feel like I'm so different. I'm not really used to a lot of this really cognitive masculine energy. Like my brain's even like neurologically different. I really like seem to associate with Lumerian energy. So I feel like I took a lot of lifetimes then. So I feel like as like each half of the shell, right? Each half of the shell, like I feel like my life partner had a lot more lifetimes towards more at the end of Atlantis, and more of in this Piscean and revolutionary energy. In me, I was probably spending more times in like Tibet, like studying Buddhism. I feel like I studied Buddhism or something in East Asia, where actually I feel like I went from east to west with the lifetimes that I would have incarnated in this past 13,000 year cycle. But I feel like at least in this lifetime I embody a lot of this Lumerian energy, whereas my divine life partner, the other half of my shell, is really embodying really the masculine cognitive black and white, like the masculine logical energy, where me it's like this, like we both embody it. I just feel like she leans more towards the male type of energy, which may sound weird, but I feel like it balances things out even more if you think about it in depth. Because then on that external, so like it's hard to explain, because feminine energy is like the internal energy, but for someone that's externally feminine to have an inner masculine energy, and someone that's externally masculine to have this inner like feminine energy, makes more sense. But really what it comes down to is balancing all that inside the masculine and feminine. But I feel like it leans towards one direction, or lean each individual half of the shell kind of leans more towards their unique part, so that when they come together, like they create a thing where they have to work together. One can't function completely as without each other, like to not fully and completely to their extent. I mean, of course they're still connected even at distance, but it's like there's empty space, that there's actually emptiness there, because that's still form, it's still space. So it's like they just come back together and reconnect, and that's what's happening right now. It's really cool, and there's so many soul families coming back together where we've spread out to gain all this knowledge, and it's like now we've taken journeys back to each other. So it's like, because I kept thinking like we're all the same. We are the light of the light. I am, right? We're all the same thing, but we're not. We're like, ego is like a delusion of the mind, right? That's, I don't really know what ego is, but I think that's what people are describing as ego. But then what's a soul? Because like I know, because that's I am, right? I know I'm real, but I know I'm different than other souls, and I'm unique. And I feel like me and this person, it's like our souls separated, and now our souls are like merging back together into one soul. And so it's like, it's so cool. It is so cool. It's so deep, and it is such a strong feeling. But it's like soul is like the uniqueness and the unique frequency and tone, and it changes over time. And to change, it has to break apart, create space between itself, and to make its way back. And as it does that, it creates all these things with that still space, that emptiness, and expands and grows and gains more knowledge, and it changes its frequency by doing that, as far as I see it now. So thanks for listening. I hope you could conceptualize and follow that. It's hard to, I know, but that's why I make these videos and journal it, so that I can look at it later.